It's been a beautiful campaign of the new season of the 2021-2022, where the return of the supporters, goals, Galo. Talk about the title fight at the top and the relegation battle. At this point, we can say it's quite early. But so far, 4 games have been played, and there's so much to talk about, including this past weekend. Hello and welcome at this beautiful Thursday, Libhola Eswatini, as you usually know. Different, of course, changes in the setup as your host, Patrice Msibi, of course, is engaged with other duties. So I'll be with you for the next hour, where I hope that you company of our in-house analyst Linda Dlamini, who took his time to check some of the ins and out of what's happening in the local football. Most importantly, we'll look at the M10 Premier League past weekend results, upcoming weeks, talk about what does it mean for the league, and would see maybe who potentially has the credentials to take this season. Otherwise, FA President Peter Samora Similane was in Egypt over the past weekend, part of the General Assembly meeting, where he noted few things. We hear from him what he's going to be telling us about the meeting that took place in Cairo in Egypt. Premier of Eswatini has begun activation campaigns for Yellow Sundays. If you know Yellow Sundays, these are some of the big games that we notice most of the time at the end of the month. So talking about the Yellow Sundays, Pet Vilagati, the Chief Operations Officer, will give us a message. What can we expect from the fans? What can you expect from the teams? Otherwise, stay entertained. It's going to be a beautiful show. We're going to make sure that you are entertained. So verukhona umlangeni nguvusele ngosi.
Ngiyabonga Fabrice ngikuthola ukukhuluma uvuselelo nomalweli viewers ekhaya ngilesine ngicabanga ukuthi solobagadzile ukuthi ngabe ama teams abo adlala kanjani yesibayade ama result but kubona ukuthi bobani badlale kanjani bobani bashaya amagoli anganani lokungijabulisa kakhulu ke Fabrice ukuthi amagoli ayashaywa nawubuka ukuthi iManzinzi Bet kuMozi una 6 goals already ngale kumbabana Highlanders Khale 7 goals show ukuthi yaminyetelana.
Talk about things that are going good for other teams. Some things are not going sisho ukuthi kwanyalo Dlamini kudro singasitshela kona mayelana necembu le Young Buffaloes, but you've started your investigations. Now you're not happy ukuthi kwendekani ngale cembu.
Fabrice kungumgomo wethu la kulama shows lawa noma kuleti inhlelo leti noma nje singumsakade lokuthi maloyal viewers ati lokuthi if i-team yenda kahle leni, if i-team ingendi kahle ibangelwa yini lo sinde kahle solo sisachubeka nako ke lokho ngicaba ukuthi by next week Thursday sabe sicompile kahle le report bese sisiyathula ukuthi kungabe vele ukuhamba njani khabo Young Buffaloes.
He's in the house. He's going to give you everything you want to know about, investigation reports, details. Now, to begin things with, FA President Peter Samora Similane, singasho ukuthi beyase Cairo in Egypt, part of the meeting. But on his return, afika la even Master ukanza inzaba yemkhuhlane sevele ine gu tinombolo tiyangeteka tara abantu labanomkhuhlane we-COVID-19 lapho khona se ujoine timvuna tembuso natitsatsa batsingi litfonsi lokuvikela kangcono phecelezi i-booster shot. Ngibone ubika khona la emahovisini etimvuna tembuso master, but bekumcwanga nani ukuthi naye Peter Samora Similane abe part of bo minister ukuthi athathele booster shot asikuthathe nathi basebholeni ukuthi siyithathe.
Uqinisile Fabrice bonke buholi belobukhona lebebukhona lapha emahofisini etimvuna tembuso bebathatha yona le booster shot lekulithonsi leli sita noma lelilwa kangcono nemkhuhlane we-COVID-19 since siyakhumbula ukuthi lesikhathi lesifika kuso nyalo sekutawufika lenye futhi ligagasi mhlambe lenye wave yawo lo mkhuhlane kanzi sita ku December kanti sita emabhola asacala kuphethitela so yena president wayo i-Football Association njoba usho ukuthi bayangekho seCairo ubuyile kwakhanza le campaign ichubeka lencabanga ukuthi njoba ngisho ukuthi as leaders is one of leaders la prominent even kudzinga ukuthi a lead by example uye ithethe ke naye le booster shot njoba ngisho ukuthi ilwa ngcono nalomkhuhlane iyasita lo mtimba lo umtimba emtimbeni ukuthi ulwa kangcono nomkhuhlane naye uyithethe.
He was at the cabinet offices on Tuesday when taking the booster shot. This is Peter Samora Similane expressing how important noma uwake wajovela lo mkhuhlane kumcoka ukuthi uphinze ujike uthathe le booster shot ikakhulukathi kulama fans lana imvumo ukuthi angangena ikhathi enkundleni abukele imidlalo MTN Premier League. Peter Samora Similane also detailing on his trip to Cairo in Egypt.
Kumcoka ukuthi eMaswati athole umjovo ne-booster shot, especially ke thina basebholeni. Njoba uhulumende nje abesivumele ukuthi sibuyele ebholeni walisho linani lokuthi lingakanani. If sijova siphinde sithola nale booster shot, utagcina uhulumende asivulele njengakulamanye emave ukuthi wonke umuntu akete estadium. Kuyabonakala kulamanye emave ukuthi even nalama mask abasawagcoki. Sebavele nje bajabule emagemini kuma entertainment. Nanathi mase sijovile kutakwente kanjalo. Sitawucela nje baphathi bemabhola la kangwane nema officials nema fans lokuthi let's boost and le nomboro yaze yakhula yaba yinenge. Sitawuyela kuhulumende siyocela ukuthi hulumende sesicela ukuthi salevele uvula openly ngoba imcoka le booster shot ngoba yakubooster even noma unema underlying conditions ukhanza ukuthi le booster shot iqinisa lamasotsha akho iwangete noma sengakuphatha iCovid ingene angeke ibe ngile takugulisa noma igulisa kancane chances okulala esibhedlela abamancane. So siyawa advise eMaswati ukuthi akachubeke anang ajove. Siyabonga. Itsinziwe but nje ayikakhulunywa in detail. La sifike nje sakhuluma ngetinto letinengi especially bo infrastructure lokuthi kwanyalo kusazanywa lokuthi kuraiswe ama funds lokuthi kuraiswe imali lokuthi la kakhafu countries ibe enough lokubuya ku-improve tonke leti stadium especially kulama countries la ngamithi lama state lama requirement akakhafu. So lalaba mithako bona batawulandzela ngemuva in terms of assistant. Saphinde ke sasesikhuluma ngalendzaba ke yale World Cup lokuthi ibe in 2 years and kwanyalo kusentiwa study lokuthi vele how feasible it is. If it's feasible ema countries lafana nathi bo Swaziland they will gain because le mali ya biannual World Cup it out distributwa to all the countries. Sine nje kutaba iadvantage kithi if vele World Cup ingabanjwa every 2 years.
Eswatini Football Association President Peter Samora Similane, on his way back to the Kingdom of Eswatini, he was in Egypt attending the CAF General Assembly. Simuvile ngos Samora ukhulume indzaba yokutsatha abalandzeli boyichazile asinze nayi yase CAF ukuthi kudlalisa iWorld Cup if possible if bagcina bayivumile every 2 years. Simbonile na Arsene Wenger beyakhona if igcina ivunyiwe ukuthi asibenefit uyachaza ukuthi kunetindzaba tetimali uyiva njani ngosi?
Fabrice ngiyathi ukuthi labaningi na ukhuluma ngendzaba ye World Cup every after 2 years abayiva but nayivela ecaleni ivela ngaye Arsene Wenger ngicabanga ukuthi ngayiva mina ngase sengihlala phansi ngiyabuka ukuthi if iWorld Cup itadlala every after 2 years lokusho ukuthi ngenteka lamanye ama qualifiers ngiyabekisa nje uthola ukuthi ama qualifiers AFCON sekubaphinze kuba ama qualifiers eWorld Cup ngiyabekisa uthola ukuthi tonke letinto leti kanjalo so kutawuncipha nalokudlala lama games uthola ukuthi izidlala AFCON izidlala iWorld Cup izidlala bocha tonke letinto lethu uthola ukuthi sebakwenda kuba kunye nangabe uqualifyile kuAFCON uthola ukuthi automatically so qualifyela yona iWorld Cup. Ngiyethemba ukuthi batakwenda kanjalo but kakhulu ngicabanga ukuthi uteka yona yena president indzaba imali ukuthi siyathi ukuthi iWorld Cup ifika nabo unsumbulwane labancane so if stawumela 4 years lokusho ukuthi le mali itawufika after 4 years but naku 2 years nalama programs because nabo banesikhathi lesithe office ngicabanga ukuthi bese kuba lukhulu achieve achieve letinto kanti ngesikhathi 2 years uyathi ukuthi after 2 years khona lokundawo ngabantu idiningi letimvo leto la le taw benefita kule World Cup after 2 years but kakhulu ngabantu invo lengichazako mina noma ke lengichaza as umumvu loliswati indzaba ema stadiums because uyasho ukuthi CAF president Patrice Motsepe in fact yonke nje CAF iteke indzaba vele ema stadiums ukuthi namavela ngamithile standard siyakhumbula ukuthi about a year ago mavuso wabenishwa kwathinga ukuthi iFootball Association ibhale incwadi kuya CAF pheze sithole yona lemvumo but vele still standard asimitheki akusiyo so stadium lesingathi silapha so ngicaba ukuthi naloko letinvo leto sitaw benefit thina kakhulu because uyasho president uthi kutawuqala lamave la lete vele le facility bo Zimbabwe ngikhuluma ukuthi Zimbabwe at the moment ide inakuza inkundla lengathi ifit ku hosta ema games asekhaya.
Sisaphuma kulendzaba master because it's very key that we highlight this. We're not accusing anyone ikakhulu kathi president uyatingenela nje office ne executive branch sinenkinga lenkulu live in master indzaba ye stadium infrastructure wise nalokuthi kulamalanga nje kuna I think nabuka ukuthi most of lama Premier League games bayafaka ikalanga enhlangano. These are FIFA projects, Football Association stadiums. But nawubuka stadium nje ngakalanga master, would you say we are working on infrastructure because this is an area we can mention. We've heard reports that stadium costed around 31 million.
Yes.
But we're not as big as would say 31 million. But the picture of the area it doesn't reflect the cost. We're not saying khona lokwa what's kancane but sesishiya lapho but master when utsini ngalenza because nasikhuluma ama infrastructure sikhuluma ukuthi at least as a country we can have a stadium of at least 20,000 nasikhuluma ukuthi we are hosting nyalo iLeopard be host team yaseAlgeria na stadium iku FIFA standard kuna advertising board esidini ba MTN bayafaka bo Swazi Mobile Swazi TV yafaka nayo advert FIFA standard stadium Galanga is it FIFA standard stadium narokuthi nje the figure of the stadium sembe ngibekisangayo master
Fabrice kulukhuni ngicabanga ukuthi ngicabanga ukuthi inyalo sekuvumelekile nokuthi balandzeli bayekalanga bayokubukela ema games babonile kunemanti lapha even nebadlali baphuma kalukhuni kuma dressing room bangena ekhasi groundini but nakhona ke Fabrice ngiyajabula nje lokuthi wena kungene buholo lobusha ka face yakhumbula ukuthi le stadium sakhiwe kubuholo lobudzala ngicabanga ukuthi nakhona lokwakhiwa kwalapho na ungathi uyalandzelisisa kahle ubukela bebakha le stadium I know ukuthi I'm not a favorite kwincumbi bamfuna ngikhuluma liqiniso now uthi uyalandzelela labantu bebakha le stadium nalabamfu laba utawubuka lokuthi former president akathinzeki lapho but angikho ke lapho sikhuluma ngale mali ukuthi lo 31 million uyafitha yini kule facility le but having said that ema stadiums awasiyo akamele akhiwe iFootball Association iFootball Association itakhela kwakayo because FIFA project that's a technical center inhlangano kuse technical center uyabona kodwa asesi le room improve asesibanikete ukuthi banga improve bangazama nabo ukuthi bathole imali bakhe ema stadium a proper stadium njengoba na ukhafu nje uyasho ukuthi utawufanda ema stadium kwakhiwe ema stadiums otherwise ilitiko lelo le Ministry of Sports lekudzinga ukuthi bakhulume nalo lithola ama sponsors through hulumende bakhe stadium less proper for eMaswati.
They have it. More to talk about Naskunuma Inzaba facility because it is an issue as a country that so far has put us in a situation where we cannot even host a tournament like CHAN or under 17 of AFCON. So it's a long way to go before we reach to that level. Now moving on is the activation campaign Eswatini with the team's public relations officer Gukurunywa Inzaba yama Yellow Sundays master. Siyati ukuthi nakhuluma ngama Yellow Sundays most of the time towards the end of the month title sponsor MTN with Premier League sesibona ama campaign lapho khona ukhanza ukuthi balance during the day best dressed fan top scorer best beautiful goal player of the match but wala lokuchaza to you how important are these Yellow Sundays nokubona ukuthi sayabuyele ma Yellow Sundays with the fans of course are back lokusho ukuthi now now as a fan, when you're amongst the best dressed fans, uyakhona ukuthi bakuhlonyise on the day?
Fabrice, yinto lenhle yathi na introduce yona iwelo Sunday sabona kunyuka ama number of goals, sabona ama hat-tricks because ama hat-tricks abese sayafakwa lapho ukuthi nawushaya ama hat-tricks uthola imali etside. Ngicabanga ukuthi this time around itaba improved. Ngivamse kuba nenkinga ke Fabrice if kunema officials la selectiwe kuthi akhethe ma player of the match player of the tournament, but le official thola ukuthi mina ngilinda ngwakadlamini ngi official ngibukele itinvo lethu ndawuthola imali noma ngithole something yabekisa because sponsorship nge-MTN ngithole gadget, but labadlali nabathola man of the match now siyahlula lapha global ngicabanga ukuthi kubhlungu sikatsile ukuthi kuze le bhola yakithi improve asesi-investeni labadlali asibende lokuthi bafune lokushaya amagola, asifune kubenda ukuthi babe man of the match, banike letincingo, banike nale mali bonakale ye man of the match. So ngicabanga even nebhola I know ukuthi yakhuluma ke Premier League ukuthi indzaba yemabhola ukuthi ayadula vele but ngicabanga ukuthi lokho kunga improve because umdlali kuyamotivate ukuthi ahambe nebhola nakashaya hat-trick.
Since lenkulu but sithinza nasikhuluma ngamuzi Thabethe because on the day he scored 3 goals but angambone on the day hamba nebhola kusho ukuthi ngilenzayo vele uyithinzako. Now Pet Vilakathi lobuke kusebenza kwenhlangano ye-M10 Premier League of Eswatini uyithinzile indzaba yema supporters kubuyela kwama supporters together with Yellow Sunday. There is a message to the fans, to the players, fune bathi phathe njani ikakhulukathi kuma Yellow Sunday. This is Pet Vilakathi from the Premier League of Eswatini.
Siyawacela amaqembu ethu aqhubeke atiphathe kahle ikakhulukathi kubalandzeli esisebabuya abalandzeli bese bajwayele ukuthi bangaboni lamaqembu abo kunema changes abatawabona ezinemidlalo isadlala. Siyakucela kakhulu lokho kubalandzeli ukuthi abaqhubeke batiphathe kahle. Sizathu sekutiphatha kahle kunathi nanzi lathi beka namhlanje na MTN. Ngibani nje lobeka ngakubekela imoto lensha athi ithathe. Ngibani nje lobeka ngakubekela irouter athi buya la uconnect bomzala nabo antu amzalo wagogo antu amalungu kude kuthi nikhone ukuthi nonke nichumane nemhlaba. Siyadibongela kakhulu ku-MTN ekwendeni lokho. Sendlule sibonga ku-MTN lokho ukuthi emaqembu ethu wabona kukuhle lokho ukuthi before iqale lesizini kube netimbasha akabaveta tona ukuthi bakhone nje lokulungiselela. Sithi asikubike official lokho ukuthi timbasha setifikile futhi timbasha sesitinjuzisile tangene emakoneni atifanele tingene khona. Ngiyabonga lokho sema club MTN appreciate lokho with a round of applause. Kuhle ukuthi umuntu nakakupha indlu akubone ukuthi vele uyabonga vele uyayithokotela. Kuhle kakhulu lokho. Ngibuye endzabeni yema ground sivile uyi-highlightile Mbabane Highlanders and siyayibonga leyo concern Mbabane Highlanders. Lesicela kukusho sing-Premier League nalokubhekene ingcinamba lebhekene nelive indzaba yetinkundla tekudlalela. Siconza kahle ukuthi inkundla yaseMbabane akusiyo le available. Inkundla yasemavuso inema restriction because siyisebenzisa kuma international games. Lokho kushiya emaqembu la17 laphila kule corridor yaMbabane Manzini ede inkundla tekudlalela. Kungiko ke lehhovisi likhanza seligcina liphocelelekile ukuthi lithathe iclub yaseMbabane yo hostel eMhlume, lithathe iclub yaseMbabane yo hostela enhlangano. Andike siyatibongela ku-Eswatini Football Association ngalama structures la kawakhako lokufaka ekhathi inhlangano lokufaka ekhathi kalanga kuyakhiwa namanje eTulu nawo. Sithi asikubonge lokho ku-Football Association because ngaphandle kwaleti inkundla lethu ngabe side tinkundla lesingadlalela kuzo. Na ungabala imidlalo lesiba nayo ngeweekend iba ngu-15 as we are having 30 teams. So kumcoka ukuthi sibe netinkundla zifanele ukuthi singadlalela kuzo. Siyakubonga kakhulu lokho. Sendlule sibonge nabo labanikati baleti inkundla. Lokho ukuthi sifika ku tinkundla leti atisito tebhola kuphela, tisebenta leminye imicimbi. Kodwa nje siyakubonga lokho ukuthi nakutawusuka umnyaka sala phasi nabo, sikhulumisane nabo, basivumele ukuthi nalonyaka siyanika letinkundla under nama conditions nabo. inkundla yakalanga isakhiwa isengapheli kepha ngekweswela tinkundla kungiko sikukhanze kufanele ukuthi singayisebenzisa angigcine ngeke ukuthi siyawabonga ama-supporters lokwekuthi sekafunza lokuthi nangabe kune decision lentekako longayithanzi akusho ukuthi bese sowufuneka bese sowuba violent. You accept that decision and move on. Ngoko lesikubita nge-fair play lokho la ebholeni ukuthi ebholeni sigaze ukuthi beningahlala kanye kanye nimbabane Swallows nimbabane Highlanders niwubukele umdlalo lo wenu hayi ukuthi nibukela lo weSibets neGreen Mamba lo wenu nje niwubukele ususho nje ukuthi hayi ngiyakunemba hayi siyahlaba sikhathi hayi siyahlaba nala lo mnyasa memeta athi T kube mnanzi because football is all about entertainment. Sithi asingeneni kulembela sonto singile bathi phethe kahle sibukele imidlalo ke angisho lokho ukuthi sinayo imidlalo and imidlalo yethu iyachubeka siyahlonipha ke ukuthi sinemidlalo yema under 20 lechubekako even naloko siyahlonipha sawuchubeka siyisupport because labafana bema under 20 beta khona kulama senior team ethu lawo lesiwadlalisako labanye already sebakhona ba registered bayadlala active football sawuchubeka nabo sibasupport sibadedele nalabo badlali kubonakala ukuthi licembu lesivele lincane libacelile ukuthi bayo assista kubo nangabe kunema arrangement la ngendiwa atawendiwa kubonakala lokuthi nangabe khona labadzingekako noma la sebane badlali labanenge sibadedela njani ukuthi imidlalo yabo singayi.
Thank you very much, Pet Vilagat. That message is loud and clear, pertaining to how we should behave when we head to the games. Nalogutsi tindzaba tetsinza stadium master. Nangimuva kahle besikhulumile indzaba ye-infrastructure, but I think I want to make this clear. Good point nagatsi basivele sikhalo se Highland. I think it's the same issue letaba khona nale weekend ukuthi some of lama teams analogutsi wena master silaba basembabane. Swallows nembabane Highlanders kule weekend ufune baye kudlalela esiteka la so kwendwayini ukuthi bawangafaka emavuso ngoba abalandzeli bawo batudana. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I think then it comes to the issue of infrastructure, but still kuphinze kusite ama teams lamancane, the so called teams, small teams angibekisele ngeSibets. iSibets ngiyelota host iSwallows on the weekend, so having fewer fans of Mbabane Swallows on the day kuyabasita ukuthi
baya inhlangano
nosikalanga baya inhlangano yes not kalanga but le dilemma lekhona ihambisana vele nenzabe sithi ukuthi kune shortage yama grounds, hence we have to adapt to the system ukuthi the big teams can still go and play far away from the fence.
Ngicabanga ukuthi nakhona lapho kusita not only the small teams inyathi ukuthi lama big teams the so called big teams lalang 3 Mazini Wanderers Mbabane Highlanders Mbabane Swallows banema fans all over kunema fans la senhlangano if sine sitawuchubeka sithi aba host yes I team yasembabane but if fan base inengi nasenhlangano ngiyathi ukuthi inhlangano bake bawudlala khona ama games kwabonakala ukuthi inhlangano iyagcwala so if enhlangano bakhona lama fans yini vele lama games abanga hostel khona but ke nyalo siphucelelo simo mina bekusicelo sami ukuthi vele noma bekuthiwa ama stadiums akhona but lenhlangano kalanga because nasisteki bakhona ama fans bomhlumi bakhona lama fans ngicabanga ukuthi lokubaya enhlangano njenge weekend sitawubona because bagatsile bayivuka ibhola limnanzi Mbabane Highlanders versus Green Mamba Mbabane Swallows versus Sibets basefomini Green Mamba nabo basefomini they are to lose a game so ngicabanga ukuthi even Mbabane Highlanders they are to lose a game so ngicabanga ukuthi lokuthatha lama games kulukhuni ukuthi umuntu angasuka every week asuke enhlangano asuke kalavumisa emavusa tobukela but if ke enhlangano utasho ukuthi okay this week sitholile chance kututane kusenhlangano.
Loud and clear. That's how the message is. Now, let's get into the M10 Premier League games that played over the weekend. Now, Buga Impera Central Sugaguye Master. The biggest games, of course, were down there by Galang. Sibonile Mbabane Swallows getting back to winning ways. First win of the season. Buga the 2 goals against Tambuchi. Now, let's talk about one of the match, Bokona against Sundowns, Mbabane Highlanders. We look at the game. We will support our conversation with visuals. Titombe Tikona. Master, this Highlander, the fever lekhona itawulasta yini noma ngine fever lesingasho ukuthi kuqala season At some point the supporters bake baba disappointed baqale kahle, but as the season goes in bese setinto athambe kahle. Kubuka kwakho master, ngubona at some point having a conversation with some of the journalists nikhuluma ukuthi the form lakuyo Nyaro Skali, it's one of the best in the land. Talk about also the defenders Bomanan. What have you seen in this Highlander? Can you see progress? Kudlalwe 4 games so far. Uvetile ukuthi they are yet to lose a game. Can they go 20? Can they go 22 games? Yes, against Sundowns we were born over the weekend.
Fabrice, imbabana Highlanders yawathola ama result. Yawa grind ama results. Ngicabanga ukuthi Fabrice kule period le ekuqaleni kwesizini noma ngabe awudlali kahle sawukhumbula lokuthi coach usefika kule team. So noma ngabe awudlali kahle but wathole lama results. Ema results ke Fabrice watholela in one atawubooster i-team spirit. Number 2, besides the team spirit ngicabanga lokutethemba kulabadlali ulesa kona because ukhuluma ngasikhala uyathola lamagoli sho singesikhathi le team seyikhonile lokuthi ijele noma le team chemistry sebayitholile sayitholele coach itabe le team seyinawo emapoint utathola ukuthi ayisaleli kakhulu emuva. So ngicabanga ukuthi at the moment benda lokufanele bayathola ama results bawathola lendvu ledzingekako. Sikhali is on fire. Ngicabanga ukuthi prior mhlambe ngaphambi kokuthi idlalwe le game le ku pre-match wakhuluma PRO Sundowns wathi bayeyadi inkinga labayofacana nayo kumba wona Highlanders and that problem ngusikhali. Nakasho lokho sikhali ngalaceleni bekahlekela nje.
Master ngeke ngambuta Skali ukuthi kugcoka le armband kwambooster yini wathi yena akukambooster but kubuka kwakho kwambooster yini. Look at Kenneth Moloto on the day. Beautiful goal. Yes,
beautiful goal. And Fabrice invo la isho coach wayo imbabana Highlanders NS Mavuso ku pre-match wathi once ba focus kusikhali
labanye
ngeke kore yena kuqala ukorile ke Moloto. Ngicabanga ukuthi ngavele ukuthi some of ema players lamanye ayithatha le responsibility.
Take us through the goal, master.
Yes, free kick but again ngicabanga le defending yayo I Denver Sundowns u defender I set piece ubone 2 ama defenders amile ball watching inside the box banga pick because ngiyayithi mina Fabrice nangabe udefend set piece it's either you man marker noma wenda le zonal marking but ketsine izonal mark iyasehlula because lama roles aswati ukuthi nangabe ngithi izonal marking maka ku lana nje nawubuka ukuthi the 2 defenders azama kujampela ibhola but awadi lokuthi kahle kahle endani gani if nangabe beka men makile bakathi uthi Moloto makiwe Sikhalo makiwe incumbi bani bamakiwe so ngicabanga ukuthi ngawuthi balungise lokho.
That was not the only goal of the day. As of course, the cross on its own, it's just beautiful. And I think it's something that maybe they are good at this season. The penalty incident, Mas, I think Gubene confusion in the stand with was it a penalty decision? When do we say, we're still looking at the Kenneth Moloto goal. Yes, that was a beautiful finish. Now Buganshe, the way he finished that goal and the position of both the strikers, Boskali and everyone on the day. We talked about the penalty incident, Master, off record, and Satibuta would see what applies internationally in terms of ball position of the defender in an area where he's supposed to be protected. How do you position yourself? Was this a penalty? We'll look at the incident, but to you now, Buga, was it a penalty, Master?
Wayibamba. Yes.
White scenes.
White scenes. Besihlale sithi once wathenza ibhola ngesandla inside the box a penalty. Yes bekadutana kakhulu sakuthi ilomthetho kulesinye isikhathi kuba khona lo bavumako kulesinye isikhathi
sicela basipose na cross the ball. Yes,
so uyabona ukuthi beka because bathi letandla kumele tibe ku natural position lokusho ukuthi la kumele tihlale tikhona khona but once letandla wativula wafuna kundiza because uyasibona sivulekile lesandla. Yes, penalty. Good call from yena Rafael. Yes,
all right, beautiful call as Master has okayed it. Let's take a look at the penalty that was taken by Skali on the day. There's no doubt he had to put it in, and maybe just a call to say there was no one nguyelo itsatsako. That's the decision of the coach, the decision of the team. Waitsats and beautiful finish. No arguments about that.
Pressure. Ngicabanga ukuthi uyithatha le penalty lena Fabrice under pressure because uyakhumbula ukuthi bebasite abafuna core. Uyayithola ke le penalty engqondweni yakhe uthi if I miss le penalty le then shothi bebaqinisile vele ukuthi nginginga labakhonile kuyisolve but Scali, being Scali.
We're going to take the third goal, but Master, I want to drive you've talked about, you're a coach by profession. People might know this, might not know this, they might know this, might not know this. Master is a coach. He understands what this happens. When two players, Master, used to play together to a specific team. I think this was a TV. So if they play to the same team, team, the combination bangachubeka bayaka. So ngikhuluma combination ya Mkhweli na Iskal, because the first game, the game against Wanderers, when they played 1-1 draw, that header that made headlines. Satsabanga ukuthi mhlawumbe it was luck, satsabanga wavuka kahle on the day, why cross. Yaphinzendeka on the day. The partnership between the two, ikhona, is it something lesuka kulesikhathi bebadlala imbabeni Swallows? Something singasho ukuthi baya understandana bantu two.
Fabrice once ngadlala nemuntu isikhathi lesithi uyamata ama weakness akhe uyamata ama strengths akhe me and you sesisebenza isikhathi lana sesibeki la isikhashanyana sengiyawata ama weakness akho ngiyawata ama strengths akho so even nasebholeni kwendeka kanjalo so Mkhweli uyathi ukuthi once wa overlapper ukudzinga ukuthi afake I cross ekhasi boxing because Scali very very good deadly kuma aerial balls so ngicabanga ukuthi understandana kwathi because badlalile ngibabona solos badlala even na national team isikhathi lesithe so onke cishe incumbi lamabhola lo tawabona angena ekhasi boxing utawabona lo asuke aqhamuke ngale kumkhweli uyabona uya understanda uyathi lo uthi Sikhali kahle kahle udzinga ini
the timing, Scali yati kutsifuna bekuphi, but there's a technique, the technique of the header, Master, because ubuganga tsu uyembili, but now ushaya ibhola ushaya utsi buyele move.
Again, ngawuphenza Solomon, ngicabanga for Scali 9/10 lel goal lela. In fact 10/10 because that's a beautiful goal. But again, the defenders you can't allow ungevumele striker ekhathe boxing umnike isikhala ukuthi ajumpe akayive le nakhuza akuve la uyabona le presence yakho ayive so if utamnika nje umyekelele ukuthi ajumpe no akwende kulo labanye bokhoshi baye bathi ungasebenzisa because like sikude angisho I'm not teaching ema players dirty game but some of the coaches athi lesadla kumele sisebenze ayive kancane uyabona because naka jump utayiluza kancane le balance ungabe bese sewenda kakhulu because taba ipenalty but umphushe nje kancane wende loluthi angayitholi le balance but akwende lokho vele uhambe uyo defender ibhola but Sikhali ngicaba ukuthi uyakhona awujumpa incumbi ema defenders but I Denver Sundowns tsenga ukuthi ikulungise kakhulu ku defender more especially ema set pieces.
The only goal that came on the day for Manzini Sundowns had to be scored by Mike Dombo, a former Manzini Wanderers star. Master, we've seen these two players, Kulumanga Spy to Kulumanga Mike Dombo at Wanderers, now at Sundowns. Dombo, do you think he deserves to be on the bench? He started on the bench, he came in, to you, Dombo na Mbuga, was he supposed maybe to start the game?
Fabrice now uyabuka kahle wangena waba nemfuthu bakhona vele badlali abangena bayishintshe igame but ngicabanga ukuthi umdlali lo wangena washintsha igame ngilange lihle Dlamini the young star
Junior Loas,
yes is that player
the number 11
in fact Fabrice wasina kangena bekangasabi kuthatha on ema players eMbabane Highlanders even nakuleli goal leli begenda show ukuthi ibhola uyayifaka ekhathe boxini ngicabanga ukuthi kwagcina kwendeke ijustice nje ukuthi agcine ayifakile ekhathe boxini ithole finish. Beautiful goal from yena Mike Dombo because aksilula ku chestela ibhola
Acrobatically, yeah.
ukuthi kushnelela ibhola bese sophinze ushaya bicycle kick.
Master, but coming to maybe the question, yes, I talk about the cross, talk about the assist, the positioning, stakubona kusho ukuthi kune defense, the defensive error imbabane Highlanders imvo fune bayilungise bo now ukuthi he's just requesting the ball, raising his hand. But isn't it a wake-up call for Sundowns coach? They have a new coach from Zimbabwe. Would see this man should maybe start the game next time.
Njoba ngisho Fabrice ukuthi kuyendeka bakhona labanye badlali lebo coach lababelieve ukuthi if nginamqalisa ngeke afike ku 60 minutes, so angemfaka second half atakhona ukusacitha le game asade ukuthi training bebendani, but based on kulele sakubona sini ngeweekend ngicabanga ukuthi uyadeserve ukuqala, even nalanga lihle uyadeserve ukuqala, but ngicabanga ukuthi abafuna ukumfaka ipressure kakhulu because he's still a youngster, but otherwise they are two bagodi bobabili.
You and I, Master Satibuta, on the day could see this is Mbabane Highlanders' fourth game. The only draw they had, it's against Manzini Wanderers. What is the motivation behind their success? What's driving them as a team? During the interview, the coach highlighted that the team spirit. I think the message that always comes from the chairman, Ali Khomongwe, also, has something to do with their performance. Listen to the two coaches in the company, of course, of Manzini Sundowns coach, also to explain that the boys are still young. At some point, they will grow. The two coaches after the game.
The guys, they did very well. We've been working hard, very, very hard to improve our team. What can I say? Everything that we are working on is just coming to fruition, and we just want to work more on our tactics. Yes, it's still early days in the season. I think we've picked up our momentum. We shouldn't drop it. We shouldn't drop our momentum from now onwards. We've got a good management team. As a technical team, we're working together. We are one. We know what we want. So yeah, I think also our supporters are playing a huge role. Them coming back to the field for us is a plus, because you know how passionate they are about the team.
Yeah, the game was 50-50. We missed our chances because we did get our chances, but we missed them. Because in possession, we're pound to pound. We get our chances, they get their chances. It's just that at the back, we had some concentration problem. So we lapsed concentration and they punished us. Yeah, the defense. But we're still going to go back and work. It's still early, but my boys, they are young. So they are still getting into the Premier League, because most of them, they are from regions. So, but I'm hoping a few games they will be okay. Then today we were just lacking just a little fitness a bit, and we are going to work on it.
Beautiful stuff. The two coaches giving us a reaction on how they see things happening for themselves. Now, on the same day, Manzini Wanderers collected a win against Barandi Chiefs, Moni Pirates against Milling Hospers, and Tabangulu Keddies, of course, losing against Green Mamba. On Sunday, Master, that's when also you took another attention. What decided would say, not today, would see Wehlagakula. Kabolanga enhlangano awujikela Prince of Wales ukuthi ivovo nesibets bakuphatheleni
before sifike lapho ngifuna kulungisa ukuthi coach Mbabane Highlanders enesmavuso bekangekho because bebane cause if be host cause yabo coach yabo instruct so Masilonyane bekunguye beka bambelena loku assistant wakhe nangala Denver Sundowns Dr Madlazi bekunguye beka coach on the day labafuna ukuthi sikhulume naye, so ngicabanga ukuthi because labanye matathi hawu kanti sebabo coach uphi NS siyakhumbula Sundowns ukuthi uhambile siyabonga Bhembe bekunguye head coach wale team, but ngala ku Mbabane Highlanders bekangekho nje NS, and washo lokungichaza ukuthi washo Masilonyane ukuthi kuMbabane Highlanders ngalendlela labasebenzisana ngayo kuyi technical bench noma angekho coach kubonakala because wonke lo msebenzi umsebenzi usuke awentile kusuke abanikile konke.
On the same day, Saturday, Babane Swallows beat Tambuti 2-0. Manzini Wanderers beat Malali Chiefs 1-0. Tambuti, of course, against Babane Swallows, I said it. Talk about also Tabangulu Kelly is losing against Green Mamba on the day. Now, on Sunday, Master took a visit to Prince of Wales, where Vovovo and Seabeds were in the field of play to show what they can show the best. Now, one thing that was clear is that Seabeds that was able to hold Buffaloes, what do they have in store? Remember, the men behind their success currently, the man who puts the money on the table, the man who puts fuel in their transport is the president of the National Football Association. On the day, Wabona in Master, Seabeds against Vovovo. The Vovovo that before the season...
So Ashia Pela president.
Yes. So, but siyakumbura ukuthi nje waba ne-influence last season.
Yeah, last season, but
Yes.
so Ashia.
So, but nenyaro nje nabambona bayamhlonipha ejimini bathi cha siyakumbura
ukuthi ngaka lokho Fabrice ngicabanga ku South Africa sibonile good example ku Mamelodi Sundowns naye Patrice Mtsepe washiya umvanakhe but le team ngicabanga ukuthi kuyayimotivate ukuthi more especially nabadlala ema games aCAF nabo nje the ladies team bebadlala efinal bekakhona so ngicabanga ukuthi even nayo iSibet nababona nje babona former director wabo lo sang president we Football Association ngicabanga ukuthi baba motivated.
Let's look at what happened on the day, Master. On the day, Seabeds, we take a look, Seabeds, Vovovo. The results, is it what you expected at the Prince of Wales, Master?
Bemnanzi le game le bemnanzi kakhulu ngicabanga ukuthi but first half beyinedinkinga kakhulu more especially now ukhuluma nge-defending yena Ino Dlamini lwathola ligoli leqala kuVovovo ngalama mistakes mhlambe ngepoor defending from yona isibets but ngicabanga ukuthi for isibet ukuthi yabe siyabuya egamini after lel goal lel look at that you're not supposed to do that. In fact the goalkeeper and le defend bekudinga ukuthi bakhulume yes wakhona ukuthi ati-redeem goalkeeper but again ngiyangithi mina if useva ibhola ekhase boxini uyisevela kuphi it's either uyipuncha iyaphuma la khase boxini wendele ukuthi ito phuma la kulimbungoti khona kakhulu but ngicabanga ukuthi yabe siyakhona kubuya iyona isibet yalida but
drama on the last minute.
Yeah.
Botamizulu on the day, did they impress you now Bugale Vovo? Because before Seabeds scored their first goal, they managed to get Seabeds did get an equalizer. The partnership, sikhuluma partnership Master la Cabo Highland. And the partnership le ikhona la ku Seabeds between Choko and Muzi. Now buka nje cross, I think it's from Choko and Muzi was able to take the shot. Are you feeling them? Look at the cross.
That was a beautiful because inawushaya i-free kick Fabrice more especially in swinger ifake emkhatsini we defense na goalkeeper. Excuse me. Imfake emkhatsini we defend na goalkeeper lokwenda ukuthi kube likhulu kakhulu ukuthi bay defend nevovovo yayithola ile goal through set piece ngicabanga ukuthi nakhona ngishilo ngathi nakhona ukuthi balungise kakhulu kuna ukhuluma ngedefender Thamezulu walithola le goal leli for ivovovo because nawubuka ukuthi kuna Thamezulu kunabo umncedisi Mpotho kunabo Goodus kunabo Sibusiso lo former Mbabane Highlanders Ino Dlamini so ngicabanga ukuthi igcinga ukuthi Caleb athola the right combination for the team but ngala kusibets ngicabanga ukuthi Muzithabethe on the day
this goal, Master.
Yes, a beautiful goal.
Choko, look at the technique.
Yeah. In fact experience ikhona la ifike bese seyidlala khona in fact sinangabe uyi senior player noma experienced player you know when to ufaka i-cross ekhase boxini uqala ubuka kuqala usinda ifaka le cross kunabani ekhase boxini ngicabanga Choko nakasikida kuloko ekuqala wathi uvuse emehlo wambona Muzi wambona angama kwamuntu wasuthi sengiyayifaka inyalo lebhola on the day nje Choko ocishe wadlala kahle but Muzi for me because wathola emagoli amathathu wadlala kahle kakhulu.
Master, this is the third goal, of course, counter-attack, and then they finished. He got 3 goals. What did you read from that celebration? Sesibona bo Europe nangabe What is he telling us, Mosi? You tell us about the goal, then tell us about that celebration. It has a message, of course.
No, in Europe sesive ukuthola ukuthi girlfriend wakho noma umfati wakho upreg noma ukhulelwe, but but nje Fabrice nawubuka ukuthi a beautiful counter attack from yona isibet leba understand ukuthi Muzi unaso le speed sekushiya ema defenders more especially nangabe uthola ukuthi beni ba attacker engale, but the lapses in concentration ngiyola bese abakhosta kakhulu because leli goal leli langena towards the end of the game lebe kungakameli kusibakweni because already ba leader lengicabanga ukuthi naye coach Christian Twala kudzinga ukuthi because uchamuka nabo la ku center line uyangena and vele ngila ma danger areas la bekangena khona la penetrate khona, so cabanga sibata kulungisa lokho yona imanzini sibet.
Now, the Vovov has required the services of former Green Mamba head coach Caleb Ngwenya. Now ibuka master Vovov, Caleb Ngwenya khona la kuzama ukufaka yini. Are you feeling him? Are you feeling his presence ku Vovov?
Fabrice now move ala back touchline. Athi press angena ungamiyekeli ngicaba ukuthi uletha that winning mentality. This goal is result yakho because if utabana coach lotawuthi isebazidlile bamvukisele about 5 minutes 10 minutes uyahlala relax, but coach lo sawinile lo achievile lo sakubonile cishe tinvincumbu utabatshela ukuthi mina ngiyamkhumbula Alex Ferguson iManchester United bongeke uze usisoyidlile noma soyehlulile, but nakulo kwendekako kuvovovo Caleb Ngwenya kudzinga ukuthi the fighting spirit. I was so disappointed ngidawuchubeka ngibuyele nje ku game yabo netinyosi laba bakhanza khona balida 3-1 but naku nyalo bebadliwa 3-2 wakhona ukuthi coach abaphushe labadlali bagcina balitholile igoli.
We'll listen to the two coaches before we listen to the master. He plays a key role in ensuring ukuthi Muzi is where he is. Nawubuka nje Muzi ufika ku Cbet 2012 usuka ka Super League, now una 9 years ka Premier League. The product le lesikhuluma ngayo nje nawumbuka as a player, he's a full product. He scores the goals, he's a leader on the ground. What can you say? What's your reaction about him?
I think na ngikhumbula kahle nangimbukela adlala ka First Division atawuthola a player of the year aphinda top scorer award. Ngicabanga he was a marvel to watch because the speed even nalama shots labeka wathatha nyalo ngicabanga ukuthi vele sesiyadzinga kubona the result because so be part of imanzini sibhesi le culture yale team uyayi understand, so be part of le team isikhathi lesithe sekudzinga ukuthi vele izinyalo basale bavuna kuna because ba investile kuye for many years, for about 8 to 9 years, so loba investor kuye, so ngicabanga ukuthi kudzinga ukuthi inyalo asale aba rewarda for le lo investor wabo and uyawathola amagoli ngishilo kucaleni nga 6 goals already lamshayile kule season ku league, so ngicabanga ukuthi akusikulula ukuthi uTaso wena 4 games striker 6 goals. Ngicabanga ukuthi is one of my best performing players. If uSkhali bekangekho bengidakusho ukuthi my player of the month.
Remember, next week we're going to listen to the coaches now. But next week, during the Yellow Sand activation, Ushito Premier League of Eswatini through Ku Chief Operations Officer Pet Vilakati, next week it's time to award Player of the Month. Who would you give it so far, Master? I know there's a committee that is in charge. Or maybe I should give you time. Let's listen to the coaches. Yeah. When you come back, Master will have an answer. This is Caleb Ngwenya of Vovovo and Christian Twala. After the game, the 3-3 draw, what do they have to say about their performances teams going forward into the upcoming games? The two coaches.
We lose concentration at the back in most of our games. We've considered soft goals like this. We were leading the game at 1 point to 1. We could not control the game. Then we were caught very flat. I think those are the areas we need to. Though the effort you can see it is there, but the inexperience is really costing us.
Ngeke ngize ngikhale ngabadlali bami, they put their effort, but nje kube nalama missed chances lesibatholile kube sikhonile kuwafaka lama missed chances ngabe siyiwinile le match.
and Nana Nabo, they capitalized. We had a problem at the back, and then they were able to get those chances. But we came like that.
The two coaches, Master Naumuva Kalibungwenya, utsi lapse of concentration, ba consider, longa fanele utsi ba consider. But as an experienced coach, we've seen him growing as a coach from then, Babane season, Maida City to Green Mamba, taking the lead. But for the coach,
Yes, seasoned coach na Caleb Ngwenya ngicabanga ukuthi even na national team khona lapho khona afika khona waba assistant the last time ku senior team national team sihlang beka assistant wakhe long chairman wabo coach
yes.
Mr. Anthony Mdluli
yes
na kuma 20 so ngicabanga ukuthi over the years now buka labadlali labaqhamuke kuye over the years from Maida City ukhuluma ngabo Maqhawe Dlamini ukhuluma ngabo Javi ukhuluma ngabo Phephisa Msibi ukhuluma ngabo Simanga lo Denver Sundowns ngicabanga ukuthi inqumo labadlali longase uyababala labaphume kuye Caleb labakhulisile per se nangasho njalo but le team yevovovo nawe ibuka cishe njoba ngishilo ngathi ufake utenale that winning mentality uyafuna ukuse labadlali ba fight until nompembe aze ayishaye indoba yakhe but having said that uyadzinga ukuthi le ball because Fabrice as much as utawithola leyo draw utawuthola lawo ma result but ema fans lamanye they want to bafuna kubona ibhola lemnanzi idlalwa lama players unabo bogudas badlala ecishe bangayidlala le bhola la ku midfield so ngicabanga ukuthi asimnikele lesikhathi because uthi ngisho nenyanga akuvovovo mhlambe so iceze inyanga but lesikhathi akanikwe sibone ukuthi utayendelani vovovo.
Now, like we said before we took the coach's reaction, we talked about who might be the player of the first month. He has taken time to watch some of the games. Uyibukele Moneni Pirates, uyibukele Mbabane Swallows, uyibukele Red Leopard. Lesingasho ukuthi so far 12 points out of 12. 4 games they have won out of the 4. Master.
Yeah.
Who do you think is player of the month so far? It's in your opinion. Akusho ukuthi what you are saying it's what should happen.
Yeah.
In as much as I should warn some of the journalists who are in charge of selecting
sifake bamvu ipressure emsebenzini wabo but for me ngicabanga between 3 players nangikhuluma 3 players ngikhuluma nga Junior Makakula already una 3 goals ku 4 games ku Royal Leopard yet is a midfielder ukhulume bese sekuba naSikhali Sabelonzinisa una 7 goals ku 4 games is a striker bese sikhuluma nga Moses Thabetse Mazinsiphethe una 6 goals ku 4 games ngicabanga players for me.
You've heard it right. You've heard it first on Eswatini TV live on Libhola Eswatini. Didn't I mean our in-house analyst? One I would say that on many occasions, 80% of how many should I say prediction is made, he's always came out, right. So hopefully amongst these 3 players, one will be a player of the month. 4 games played so far. There is Moses Sabeza from Manzini Seabeds. There is Skarinziniza Sabelo from Babane Highlanders and Junior Magagura from Royal Leopards. Bashi Salabang 3. Kutaunyiwa. Next weekend. Now let's take a look at how far the table is looking. How the table is looking, yes. Jamin, Royal Leopards, they number 1. Are you shocked? Number 2, Mbabane Highlanders. You can't blame them. They played a draw against Wanderers. They could also be 12. Green Mamba, Bashito, their eye is on Royal Leopards, not Mbabane Highlanders. Look at Seabeds 7. To you, Master, what's your reaction? Were you expecting this in the first 4 games?
Hey, bengakagazi lo Fabrice but for Royal Leopard ngicabanga ukuthi ngasho even naqala ukuthi batawuqala because bona sebayashisa already bese bavele bawadlala ama games ase Africa bana 12.4 out of 4 but for Mbabane Highlanders I'm very very impressed ngeMbabane Highlanders bengakagazi ukuthi coach lomusha angafika Enes Mavuso angafika athole 10 points ku 4 games ngicabanga ukuthi udlale kahle kakhulu Green Mamba Mamba nayo ina 10 points and angisho ke Fabrice ukuthi nakhona lapho bengacabanga ukuthi DU because na DU uyafika ku Green Mamba bengacabanga ukuthi angafike adlale kahle kanje badlali labanye ba rejuvenated ukhuluma ngabo Phinda rejuvenated ukhuluma ngabo Javi rejuvenated ukhuluma ngabo Mxolisi Mkhondlo nabo ngicabanga ukuthi babuyile lengicabanga ukuthi kusita kakhulu lokusita kakhulu Fabrice ngalenye ilanga siyayenda analysis yayo iGreen Mamba ukuthi coach wayo iGreen Mamba longDU usenior kubo labadlali so ngicabanga ukuthi le respect bamnika
by virtue of lo msebenzi kanzi kunjani naka Edwin Matsebula
no nakhona ile party
nakhona umsebenzi
yeah isetuli le party 12 points
so ukhulumela in terms of seniority emsebenzini
yes kuyasita because angeke Fabrice uze uthi wena utawulanza coach but kunemidlalo ongetulu kuye utamnika njani instruction because kwecala kumele umsalute so ngicabanga ukuthi le tinvo leto tiyasita they are doing very well mbabona Highlanders i-Royal Party Green Mamba they are doing very well ngale ngaphasi ngicabanga ukuthi for young Buffaloes akuyihambeli 1 point ku 4 games akuyihambeli neze nani kahle and coach wayo akekho nyalo uhambe nema 17 bayiLesotho yena Mnisi ngicabanga ukuthi dinenge letinvo lecanga ukuthi batene leshilo sathi a full analysis sitawubuya nayo next week but kuyabhetha
it's tough. This is the fixture for the coming weekend from Friday at the King Sobuza Stadium. Rangers, Denver Sundowns. Rangers master sayibona idliwa 5-0 against a Highlander, but they started the season well. Bangayi surprise Denver Sundowns as a King Sobuza. More so because fana ukuthi basekhaya.
Yeah, basekhaya vele. Basekhaya for them kusekhaya. Ngicabanga ukuthi batodlala kahle kakhulu against Denver Sundowns. Yes, ngiyibonile Denver Sundowns against Mbabana Highlanders but ngicabanga ukuthi Rangers itawukhona ukuthi ibuye ku Denver Sundowns.
The biggest fixture will be on Saturday at the King Sobuza where we can say it's a sort of a Euro Sunday. Manzini Sipets, Mbabane Swallows. What's your reaction quickly and prediction?
Hey, daba tough now le. Very difficult game Manzini Sipets ngibonile la over Prince of Wales idlala nayo ivovovo
score time is
ita by draw
Highlanders Green Mamba score time is against us master
nalena ngiyibona ngasita by draw.
All right, Monene Pirates Tinyosi Galanga Stadium.
Monene Pirates they win.
Hotspurs Buffaloes.
No, itaba first win e Buffalo.
Maranti Chiefs Tabangulu Kellys.
I'm sorry Maranti Chiefs Tabangulu Kellys they win.
Vovovo Tamboti Prince of Wales.
Vovovo they win.
Biggest game Wanderers Red Leopard.
On Tuesday. Leopard tabi be campaign.
Postponed.
Yes, postponiwe igame yabo sorry against KP
GS
Kapili yase Algeria. Royal Leopard. Inform
Royal Leopard. Mark those predictions because we come back next week. He's going to tell us where he got it wrong. I mean, now, and I think this coming weekend a lot is taking place. M10 Premier League, we saw it. Everything. So we are in for a good weekend. Hope to see you and next week giving us more predictions and more results.
Kubonga mina Fabrice ngibonga kakhulu wena loyal viewers. If you don't get it, forget about it.
Opens.
They
have it. That was Libhola Eswatini. I was in the company of Linda Dlamini giving you what took place over the entire M10 Premier League weekend, building up also to another exciting fixture on the 5th day of the M10 Premier League. Until we meet again, Samba Kanchen.